Chapter 4 is our proof chapter. Okay, once we're done with these proofs in this chapter, we won't be really visiting proofs the rest of the year. We've just kind of barely touched on what proofs look like, how to write them. So if you don't feel comfortable with them right now, that's totally understandable. But by the end of this unit, you're going to be able to write them from start to finish. We're not going to look at proofs today. We're going to start that on Friday. But we're just going to review some triangle properties that hopefully you have seen before. And if you haven't, we'll teach them to you today. So with a triangle, when you add up all the measures of the angles, you do get 180 every single time, no matter what the triangle looks like. Okay, so knowing that, we want to find all of the missing angles on these three pictures. So essentially, what would the algebra be that we would set up for this one to find the missing angle?
90.
Okay, when you combine like terms, subtract, what do we get for that missing angle right here? (32°). Okay, this one, same thing. No matter what the triangle looks like, they all have to add up to 180. So what do we get for that missing one?
116.
118. Okay, just simple adding and subtracting. Obviously, you have a calculator, so when you're doing your homework, rely on that. Or mental math if it's quicker for you. Okay, which one would be easiest to find first, A, B, or C? A, definitely. Okay, because we got two of the angles in this triangle right here. What would it be? Let's add these together in our heads. 60 plus 42. We have 102 so far, so we need what for A? 78 would make a total of 180 in this triangle on the left. Okay, what do we know about A and B? The linear pair, they're not congruent. They equal 180, they're supplementary. So B would be 102. So now on this one, on the right, we have two of the three angles. We know they all have to add up to 180, so we got 40 plus 102 plus C has to equal 180. So angle C is 38. Questions? Okay, a little bit of review from parallel lines. Notice we have two parallel lines here, top and bottom. Let's fill in some of these angles, which typically is the best way to do these problems. When they give you a picture, fill in all the angles and then go back and answer all the questions saying what all of the angle measures are. So where else can we put a 91? The vertical angle across from it, good. What about right next to 91?
89.
How do you know it's 89? They add up to 180 on a straight line. So we got 89. What's this?
89.
Okay. Now look at the bottom here. We have two angles in a triangle. So we got 89 plus 52 plus y equals 180. When we solve for y, what do we get?
39.
Agree?
Yeah.
39 is the math, right? Okay, so that goes right there. Now let's look at this. We have parallel lines. What kind of angles are x and y? Got parallel lines right here. What kind of angles are x and y?
Vertical. Exterior. Interior.
They are alternate interior angles. What do we know about alternate interior angles if we have parallel lines?
They
They equal each other. So what is this?
39. Two angles in triangle. That's all 20.
This one would be 52 because of the same reason. Questions? Okay, so we're putting a lot of things together, but all things that you've seen before. Remember that all the angles of a triangle add up to 180. All right, so let's do two more, and then we'll learn something new. Really quickly, these ones you should be able to do in your head. Right here, we know two of the angles, right? We know 90 and 70, so the last one would be 20. The other one is a right triangle as well. We know 90 and 40. It's 50. Okay, what about this one? Angles of a triangle add to 180. So this is 56. Y is Y also 56. Vertical angles are congruent. Good. Questions? Okay, let's learn something new then. Before we get to the new equation, we have to know what the words in the equation are talking about. Okay, so an exterior angle, you simply take a polygon and you extend one of the sides and it creates this angle on the exterior of the shape. Okay, so here's an exterior angle here. Those are the exterior angles. If you want to draw a little picture, those are what they're talking about when it's an exterior angle. The other thing we have to understand is where the remote interior angles are. So if you have a triangle, by the way, what is this called? This one right here. That's the exterior angle. Remote. What does remote mean other than a TV remote? If something is remote,
Like by itself.
it's all by itself, far away. If you're living in a remote area, you're kind of alone, away from everything else. So here's your exterior angle right here. The remote interior angles are the ones that are far away from that angle. So it's not going to be this one. These two angles are the remote interior angles. There's a relationship between the two remote interior angles and the exterior angle that we're going to learn on the next page. Okay, but you should have an arrow drawn to those two angles, which are the furthest away from the exterior angle. Those are the remote interior. Okay, here's the sentence. The measure of an exterior angle, okay, so the exterior one of a triangle equals the sum of its remote interior angles. So what would be filled in the blanks here, according to this picture? Angle 3 plus angle 2 has to equal the exterior angle of angle 1. So that's how you're going to set up your algebra when you see these problems on your homework and on the test. So let's do two really easy ones. What would the exterior angle be on this picture?
105.
How did you get it?
25 plus 80.
Yeah, you just add the remote interior angles, the ones that are furthest away. So we got 105. This one is
125.
So let's say we had this, draw a picture like this underneath.
Okay.
We're just going to set this one up. If this had 3x, 10, 4x plus 1. We're not going to solve this because I don't know if it's even going to end up working out. But what would we set it up as for the equation?
3x plus 10 equals 4x plus 1.
You add these two together, they equal the exterior angle. Okay? Questions on that? That will always work for setting it up. X would equal 9. Yes. So it ends up working. You don't get a decimal. That was good. Okay, we ready for the last page? All right, what inequalities would always be true? What would be bigger than the other as far as the angles go? 3 is going to be bigger than what?
2 and 1.
All right, the last thing we're going to do is review some vocab words that you probably learned in elementary school. Okay? When I ask you to classify triangles, you need 2 words. You need one classifying the sides and one classifying the angle. So essentially one from the top row and one from the bottom row from the words that we're going to fill in right here. So looking at these, what names do you remember? What is this one called? Yep. What about the next one?
Is it like isosceles?
Mm-hmm.
Isoless.
That's a C right here, not an E.
Oh, I wrote E.
Try to spell that word right. That's the most misspelled word of the whole year right there.
No, isosceles.
What's the last one?
Makes no sense.
Remember?
Irregular.
Starts with an S. No, definitely not.
Scalene.
Mm-hmm. So you're going to have one word from the top row, talking about the sides of the triangle, and then you're going to have one of these from the bottom row that's all talking about the angles. Let's start with this one, because you all know this one.
Right.
What about this one on the end?
What do you do?
No? Think about what the angles are. On the right track, but not the right word.
Small.
He said acute. Which one is acute?
Oh, the bottom two.
Out of these 4 triangles, which one would be considered the acute triangle?
Oh, that one.
The second one, because all of the angles are acute. What is this one called?
Obtuse.
This one is obtuse because one angle is obtuse. My smartboard's going crazy. Okay, that angle up there is obtuse, so it's an obtuse triangle.
That one's regular. Equiangular.
Equiangular is the word I'm looking for.
I think it's actually the same triangle.
So if you have an equilateral triangle, you automatically know it's also equiangular. But you need both words. You need one from the top row, and it is regular, and one from the bottom row. Questions?